Wow, you guys are brutal today. What's up with that? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good to see you right here on the live stream. And yes, I'm trying something different. If you don't like it, I'll turn it off. But we'll try. Or we could do something way different. And we can say we're on JJ's PC Builds live right here in California. Do stick around. So, if you wanted it clean, I keep it clean. But anyway, good morning to you. We got a few going on today, everybody. Looks like we're going to be talking about the RTX 5090. They've been putting a lot of leaks out about it, so we're going to talk about it. I'm not going to get into the other hish-hash about what's going on, everything else in the PC world right now, but what I'm dealing with right here is what everybody's going to be talking about within the matter of the third quarter of this year. So, let's talk about it. And yes, MTBK, make sure you and everybody here has their drink and snacks in hand, because this is going to be a good one. I got my phone out today, everybody, just to let you know, so this way you all can see I've been diving deep into this, and I've been really looking about this, and it's got me interested. And the reason why I say it's got me interested is that from what they're saying, the 5090 is supposed to be 33% faster than the RTX 4090. Oh, and don't forget the RTX 4090, on the other hand, is being graded by Micro Center for $700, other than the $1,600 MSRP. Do keep that in mind when you're thinking about the 5090. They're doing a new grading system from what I'm hearing online. So when you go to return your GPUs, they give you the rated amount other than what you paid for it. Ain't that some crap? That is some crap to me, just to tell you. Sounds like they want to break it and say, break 19. Can I get it radio check? It's broken. You know, something like that. Come on. So you're trying to tell me that when I buy my graphics card, now it looks like it's only worth 1/2 of what I paid for it. So that's what they're trying to tell us, everybody. I mean, this is such crap that it's been edging at everybody for the last month. You know, thinking about it and everything else. I mean, it's just been edging at everybody. It just doesn't feel right for some reason. So, looking at that, they're saying by Q4 2024 or Q1 that the release date's going to happen. So, but the price they're looking at is, this is just a leak. This is not actual. This is just a leak. Up to date to today, 4/20/2024. That the price is supposed to go from $1,699, just say $1,700, other than the $1,600 for the 4090. Now you got to go $1,700, and it's going to range between $1,700 and $1,800 on the MSRP. This is what they're saying. I mean, from what they're saying here to me, is that the new NVIDIA RTX 5090 leaks suggest a 512-bit memory interface, potential boosting performance with a faster 28 gigabits per or gigabytes per second GDDR7 module. RTX 5090 could achieve up to 1800 gigabits per second memory bandwidth. If rumor holds true, the RTX 5090 may outshine AMD's Radeon 7800 XT in performance? Are they kidding? Seriously? 7800 XT in performance? And it's the 5090? Are they... Look, I'm reading what's up on this. Don't quote me on it, but I'm reading what's up on this. They can't be serious. The 4090 is in its own class. So is going to be the 5090, unless they do something with the 7900 XTX to make it into the class of the 5090. That's the only way I see it. And MTBK says, if the naysayers will complain loud enough, NVIDIA will rename the GPU and launch it in the second half months later. Yeah, which is true. Which is true, man. But they're referencing, this is the kicker, they're referencing that the 5090 is not even equal to the 7800 XT. Are they kidding me? This has got to be a joke. Because the 79, the RTX 4070 Ti, if I remember right, is faster than the 7800 XT. Wow. That's just unbelievable. I can't believe that. But they also say there is also a slim possibility that NVIDIA 5090, and they put /TI, get this, they put another little monkey wrench in there. They said the NVIDIA RTX 5090 Ti could have 48 gigabytes of VRAM, though that might seem rarely unlikely. You never know, they might. Even through Micron, which is expected to supply GDDR7 for the next gen, has both. Micron has both. 2 gigabytes X16s. That means 16 gigabytes of VRAM. And the 3 gigabytes, which would equal out to the 24 gigabyte chips. So they have the 2 and the 3. So that's a positive. If they go up to the 3 gigabyte per second chips, or the 3 gigabyte of VRAM, then I feel they might have something here with the 5090. But yes, it must be a joke. The naysayers also great comedians. Yeah, true. But why would Google, of all people, make this up? This is not the only outlet that said this, brother. I've went to 3 different outlets and they're all saying the same thing. That the Blackwell series, since it's really a server grade series, so that means you're only going to get server grade graphics. That's the reason why they're saying that. And knowing NVIDIA, they're probably going to take a little bit more time building these gaming graphics cards, because Blackwell is a monolithic die. They were supposed to, and get this, they were supposed to, it was in talks, do chiplet design. They were supposed to go to chiplet design this coming generation, but they decided to go back to monolithic like they did with the 40 series. So, it's not so much naysaying, it's so much they can't get their story correct. And that's the problem. I mean, they can't get the story correct. I mean, there's also a report here that says the RTX 5090 will have 28 gigabytes of GDDR7. I mean, what is it, 48 or 28? We don't know. It's a leak. Many people are saying this. But if it does, it's going to be 33% faster than the 4090. And the 4090 only having 21 gigabytes of memory modules in, but that's still, it's supposed to be 24. It's not 21. It's supposed to be 24. But they don't even know. See, they don't keep track of everything. I do. So, but what's most impressive with the memory bandwidth for alleged cards, apparently, 77% boost compared to the 4090 would give it the 1800 gigabits per second of memory bandwidth. Is crazy. This is totally nuts. I mean, if you go to a 512-bit bus, if you do the math, you should be able to get 48 gigabytes of VRAM? Yes or no? I mean, and MTBK is saying, yes, it must be a joke. Yeah, we already did that one. Northwest Repair was asking the question if chiplet design makes AMD RDNA 3 less reliable. Actually, no, because it spreads the heat better through the die than it would be in putting it into one big solid ball like this. It spreads, the chiplet design spreads it out a little bit further, puts it at the corners, other than putting it in directly in the center of the die. That's why you got hot spot problems and everything else. I mean, I like the chiplet design better because I think you get more performance out of it than the monolithic. But also, too, it's all depending on the manufacturer, how they manufacture it, and how, all the processes that they put in there to make it work at about 100%. At about 100%. Just saying. But it all depends. GDDR7 supposed to be like 36 gigabits. Actually, yes and no. They did test samples at 24, they did test samples at 36, and they did test samples at 48. What they recommended was 36, but they could do 24, 36, and 48. That's what I know. That's what I heard. So, and not by this. I heard it from other people that know other people that are over there. I know it's like the chain connection, but when it comes to technology, everybody talks. Especially the ones that work for the companies. They talk to their friends talk to their friends, and then their friends talk to my friends. So, it's simple as that. Yes, their product stack will be heavily depend on the wafer yield rates, not only the market demands. Yeah, I really wish they would have did the 4 gigabyte memory modules, Because if they did, then they could not stack, but they could put all on one side the 48 gigabytes. I mean, well, actually, no, they couldn't. Because they only can get 24 per side. But that's a lot of chips. Think about it. If they're 1 gigabyte modules, they would have to put 24 per side. If they're 2 gigabit modules, they would have to put 12 per side. So you figure the math on 3 to get 48. To get 48 would be, see if you did the math, so you did 48 divided by 3 gigabit modules, they would have to use 16. So they could put 16 on one side if they used the 3 gigabit modules. But if they had the 4 gigabytes that were still in, what do they say, R&D, they still got them in R&D. So who knows where that's going to move to. This card will cost too much for me either way. Machine, I'm going to tell you something, man. The card's going to cost too much for me anyway. Believe it or not. I'm doing like the consumer. I'm staying right with you guys down on the bottom ground when it comes to the graphics cards and PC parts and stuff like that. I'm not putting myself above everybody. I put myself right there with the consumers, right down at the bottom. I don't rate myself like everybody else does, better than everybody else. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm right there giving the information to the consumer. That's all I'm doing, is giving you that information, doing a little bit of building and stuff like that. You know, you guys know my drill. 16 memory modules on one side means 16 times 32-bit memory controllers, which makes it 512-bit chip. Yep, pretty much. Not unless they do like, what was it? Shoot. There was one company, I can't remember who they were, but they wanted to build a primary set of VRAM onto the CPU processor. The reason why is because the sharing rate is so much higher than it is using the system RAM that they could use that VRAM for the CPU. I don't remember who said that. That was a long time ago. They were attempting to rebuffer the amount of VRAM that was going on a graphics card so they can limit the amount and lower it. But then somebody come up with the idea and says, why don't we just add more to the graphics card? And everybody's like, yeah, we can charge more money. That's the only reason they did that. Excuse me. IBM, I mean, they have 1 gigabyte L4 cache. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. You know why they do? Is because, for the simple fact, they got out of making PCs and put their focus in R&D when it comes to the parts. They have more R&D than Intel, AMD, and Nvidia put together. IBM does. IBM's a big company too. And when they sold out, I think they sold out to Livono, I think it was. And then bought it back for some reason. It's just been going back and forth with IBM. But IBM has a big old computer that's twice as big as they were saying that their computer is twice as fast as the one Elon Musk has. Believe it or not. That's what they're claiming. So I don't know where they're coming with that. I kind of lost track of it a little bit. I'm going to have to get on track, but now let's get back to it. The 5090 is supposed to have 120 billion transistors. 120 billion transistors. That's going to be even more fascinating. What kind of core count is it going to have? Who knows? They haven't leaked that out yet about the core count. Not unless you guys got a leak on it, but I didn't get a leak on it. Because if you look at it, the 3090 had 10,496 CUDA cores, right? Now the 4090 had 16,384 CUDA cores. So since I got the calculator out, so we'll take the 16,384. Don't ask me why I do this, because I do this. Minus it from last generation was 10,496. Hit equal and divide that by 2. So, and then you add in the 16,384. So, if I'm right, we're looking at between 17 to 19,000 CUDA cores for the 5090. Estimated, not actual. Estimated. Looking between, I'm going to say looking at between 17,000 and 19,000. That's what I'm going to estimate. So with that kind of speed, you know, I would have been more likely them hit 21,000, but I doubt it. I doubt they're going to hit 21,000, guys. I really do. I mean, 512-bit bus, they better be, but when it comes to this, I hope they make it worth everybody's while to buy it. I mean, for what I'm seeing, I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical right now because for the simple fact that they're taking something that's used for a server-based, okay, a server-based accelerator card, server-based accelerator card, and they're turning it into a gaming graphics card. Anytime a company's done that, they've lost so much on performance and everything else. So, well, look at what Intel did with their new server-based processors. They pull 500 watts. 500 watts. So you know this new graphics card's going to pull more than 500 watts. It's going to pull full at least 650, at least. And if it doesn't, I'll be shocked, believe it or not. Machine says, I wonder how hot the power connection will be. Well, let me put it to you this way. On the 4090, They say it's only pulling 450 watts. 450 watts. And it's melting those connectors at 450 watts. Yeah. They're not going to handle up to the 650 watt mark. Is because the 4090 power spikes more times than the 4070 does. I mean, it pulls, just power jams. Every time you go to play a game and you go and you get into that game, it just rocks it right to the max. You don't have to overclock it. It does it itself. Because game developers found that way to overclock your graphics card without you even touching anything. And that's the reason why I told you guys, when you play your games, don't touch your settings. Game developers have already overclocked the game. You don't need to touch your settings. They implemented AI into their programming that automatically sets your graphics card to their game through the software. Don't touch the settings. You don't need to. Oh, what is going on? Chat disconnected. Please wait and try to reconnect. Unable to connect. Please try again later. The hell? Okay. YouTube's being a crackpot. I hope y'all can hear me. Let me try to fix this. Let me check. Stream health is excellent. Fixing the stream. Guys, I'm trying to test it to make sure. It says it's excellent. I don't get it. Says got 2 viewers on here. That means it's concurrent. So I have no idea what YouTube is doing. Huh. It cut my stream off. Oh my god. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, let me double check. Hold on, guys. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to reset the stream, everybody. Oh, fuck. Okay, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna reset the stream, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Okay, let's hope that the stream kicked back in and said excellent connection. So I don't know what happened. It must be a YouTube thing like normal. But it kicked out for some reason. But we're back anyway. Hopefully. Y'all hear me just fine or what? Let me know if y'all do. I'm just puzzled right now because it looks like they they're crazy. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, let's get back to that. And let's turn this one off. Let's turn that one off. Okay, so getting back to this. I'm still puzzled to the fact, guys. I mean, I'm not making this up. I can tell you this right here. Look what they said right there. 7800 XT in performance. I ain't making that up. They just said that right there. I told you I ain't making that up. So, okay, thanks, Machine, for letting me know. And MTBK, good. Thank you. I had some technical difficulty for some reason. I never had no technical difficulty. I think YouTube don't want me to broadcast. That's what it is. I have no problem with using the 12 volt high power connector. On my favorite GPU this generation for the 4060 Ti Founders Edition. On the other hand, excluding any other user errors might help. Well, I can tell you like this, my friend. I can tell you like this, and I hope you understand. How can I say this? When Okay, that don't work. Um, I could say like this. With those connectors, I would really think about it. Okay, that doesn't work for me either. Elevator music. Oh, sorry, guys. Well, the thing is this. If you listen to the players that have the RTX 4090 and they have no problems at all, then usually that means it's not so much that they're having any problems. It's that they're using it correctly. That's the thing. If you're using your graphics card correctly, why would you ever have a problem with it? That's what I don't get. I really don't get that why people have problems with their graphics cards. Which I could run the same graphics cards as they do and still not have a problem. Unless it's below 4 gigabytes of VRAM, then, I run into that little issue. Anything above that, I'm going to use the standard rule. 4 gigabytes of VRAM, no. 6 gigabytes of VRAM, possible. 8 gigabytes of VRAM, pretty good. 12 gigabytes of VRAM, excellent. And 24 gigabytes of VRAM, hardcore. You get what I mean? So, that's how it works. I mean, if I get 24 gigabytes of VRAM on a graphics card, do you really think I'm going to be wondering about if I'm going to be using it all up? Guaranteed, I'm not even going to use half that. I guarantee I'm not even going to use quarter of that. If you play and you set your display settings on the game correctly, or you just turn it on and just start playing, usually 9 out of 10 chances your games will play fine. But people don't understand that. They just think they got to go in there, crank the settings, and by the time you get done cranking the settings, your whole graphics line looks like crap. When you're playing your game, looks like crap. Simple. I don't think the 4060 Ti pulls enough power to make the difference. No, it don't. It pulls what? 100 and... Oh, my brain's not working today. I think it pulls like 160 or 180, but is nice and even keel at about 110, 115, if I remember right. Something like that. 4070 is only at 200. Push to its max, it's only going to go up to 208 on the power settings. But even keel, it'll stay between 150 and 187 watts on continuous play. And still run at 60C in between those parameters. So you don't need to overclock the 4070. I already figured that out, so I left it right at, stock level when I'm playing it, on any of my games. Stock level. Yeah, but it'll sit even keel about maybe 30 watts less. Okay? Always keep that rule of thumb. Your graphics card will always keep it at about 70% of the power usage. So basically, it's only running 70% of the watts. The other 30% sits there until you get a spike or something like that. Then it goes up and it comes back down. Still the same thing. Some people like running them because it's low power. And it gives you, what they say, it gives you a high yield at low power. When you run your graphics card, if it gives you a high gaming yield, means that it goes above and beyond the allotment of... Okay, 4060 Ti, 165 watts. It runs at 110, 115 watts continuously. But you get almost close to double the amount of FPS that you would from a 4060. It's simple deduction. The way graphics card makers make GPUs is it pushes twice the amount of its predecessor. So basically it should go up twice as high. Like mine, I've already maxed mine out at, to find out the total amount of FPS I can get from the 4070 was 1265 FPS. Now, the average is supposed to be divided by 2. So, if I take the 1265 and I divide that by 2, that gives me 632 FPS. 632 FPS on my max. Now, if I take 150 off to bring it down to my average, then that'll give me my average. So far that's about correct. So I minus 150 from it. So say 633 minus 150 should give me between 483 and 632. 633. So basically it should float in between those two and give me a low of 115 to 120. Okay, simple said and put. You really don't need the math, to figure out what your graphics card's going to do, but it's good to have a calculator. That way you can calculate what it's going to look like on an average and your lows and your highs. But from what I gathered, information on the 4070, it's keel on. So, and it averages all the numbers that I put out here. So, and if yours doesn't average that number, if you don't get the same averages that I do, then either your processor is running too hard, or, you have to bring down the amount of power that the processor puts out. If you didn't know that, you have to bring it down a little bit, so that way you can get a better peak on your graphics card if you want to push it upwards. So what do I think about the 5070? What it's going to look like? Or what do I think the 5070 will look like? Well, we all know this. The 4070's got 5,888 cores. Now, the problem is that they stacked the 4070 Super, the 4070 Ti, all in the same bracket. Believe it or not, same die. 4070, 4070 Super, and the 4070 Ti are all the same die. Just cut differently. That's it. I doubt it's going to have 7,000 shaders, man. Because the 4070 don't even got but what, 40 some shaders? I can't even remember. My brain must be floating today. Oh my god. Let me see really quick. RTX 4070 specs. Yeah, I forgot. My brain's floating today, so we'll just pull the specs and be happy. Let's see. It's got it's got a 46 SM count. It's got 46 RT. It's got 184 tensor. I don't know. Yeah, I seen that MTBK. Oh, if it's going to have 12 if the 5070's got 12 gigabytes of VRAM, I won't buy it. I will not buy it. Because that's going to be a waste of money right there. That is going to be the biggest waste of money. 4070, okay, I can see that. This is next generation moving forward. But when you got the next generation after that, and you put less other than more, what are you going to sell? You think people are going to buy less? They'll come back to this generation and buy this card compared to buying that card. Everybody can claim it's the fastest, but what they don't realize that if you don't set it up right, it's the slowest. So it's looking grim. If it has 12 gigabytes of VRAM and it's $550 to $600, I would buy it. Oh my god. Well, good luck to you on that. I already bought mine right here. Hear that box? I already got it right here. And if I want to go to the AMD 7800 XT, I'll just go borrow it from my friend. We'll switch cards. See how that works? So either way, I either have AMD or I have NVIDIA. I either have Power Color or I have Asus. One or the other. So it's a good deal for me. I got both cards. Companionship, loyalty, yeah, I got you. At 1080p, the 4070 will last a while. Bro, the 4070 will last another generation. That's the thing. Not just this, going past this coming generation, you go up to the following generation. It'll probably make it to the following generation. Because there's graphics cards that make it 10 years. 10 years. I know a guy that had his graphics card for, 10 or 11 years. And what he said to me was this: if you tweak the card in your software settings, your card will work for you. And you do not work for your card. Your card will work for you. So, common sense rule says that if you want to get a graphics card, buy wisely. I always keep the rule of thumb. Go big or go home. That's what they always said. Yeah, go big or go home. So you get the point, right? 1080 Ti? Possibly. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you this about the 1080 Ti. As far as it's cooking, no. To keep up with the AAA games today, barely. But that's where it starts, the 10th generation. It barely keeps up. Barely keeps up. Just like the GTX 16th generation. Barely keeps up. Just like the RTX 20 series generation. Barely keeps up. Just like the RTX 30 generation. Almost 3/4 of the way out the door. Barely keeps up. Just like the See, at least I know I'm working here. See? Damn. That's just to be honest with you guys. I mean, you guys want to know why I don't deal with the 30 series graphics cards anymore is because the fact they're going to start going extinct. When that next generation comes out, you're going to see, you already seen the 10th generation disappear. You're going to see the 16th generation disappear. You're going to see the 20th generation disappear for NVIDIA. And then you'll barely see the 30 series, and you just see the 40, the 50, and maybe a 60 series. Who knows? But the reason why these graphics cards go extinct is because the hardware manufacturer says when they had enough of servicing those graphics cards, after you paid, let's say you paid $100 for your graphics cards and it lasted you 10 years. So you take $100 and divide that by 10 years. 10 years. And see what it's about. So you take $100 graphics card and you divide it by 10 years. Should be 10. Now divide that by 365 days in a year. So you spent 0.02, well, let's just say 0.03 cents per day on that graphics card. And to be honest with you, the RTX 4070 is only 0.05 cents compared to a 10-year-old graphics card. Well, if you do it day by day, 365 days that you use this card, even though you don't use it all 365, you have it for 365 days. And you have it for how many years? And you got how much usage per day out of that card? Do you actually think it's worth the FPS? Of course it is. Even if you paid $100. Even though. Well, it depends on the country you're in, MTBK. The money difference is different compared from yours to ours. But it's the same general principle. That's the whole idea. When I told you guys in the beginning, I was buying a graphics card for $600. Okay? $600. I told you. If you break it down and the length of time that you're expected to have this, I quoted to you guys 5 years. So I basically took, let me see. Let me take that out of there. Let's do this. Since y'all see right here and what I'm doing. Okay. Now we'll just hit C. I took a $600 graphics card. Let's just say the 4070 Super at $600. Divide that by 5 years, gives you $120. Divide that by 365, gives you 3.2. About 3.2. Oh no, 32 cents. Sorry, my bad. 32 cents per day. You see this in the background right here. Yeah. That's voice mod. You know. Yeah, I know y'all are saying that, but still, if you pay 32 cents a day compared to a $100 graphics card where you're only paying 3 cents a day, think about the performance that you're getting from the 32 cent a day card. I mean, you go to work every day, you make that 32 cents work for you that you make from your job. Put it into your graphics card and save up for 5 years. Then you'll have enough to buy yourself a graphics card that matters. Not buying something to where you're stuck in a hole and you're buying over and over and over again. You want one graphics card that's going to last you 5 years. And if you get one, make it last 5 years. Take that little bit of money that you're saving up for the next big thing. Stop pouring your money into graphic card after graphic card after graphic card. It's not worth it. Truthfully. The hell I go to work every day. I will not confirm this. Oh, I have an echo? I don't see why I would have an echo, because I ain't got no echo on. It's probably a feedback. Let me see. Let me see if I can check just to make sure. See if this wipes it out. Go to recording, go to microphone. Let's see. Go to microphone devices, go to properties, listen. No, it's off. Levels. Computer has no control of the levels of the microphone right now. This does. This right here. Settings. See, it's set at 89. How's that? Is that better right there? General. Start with Windows. Check and see if there's any key binds. Okay. Audio. Okay. How does that? Is that better? There. Is that better? Okay. There we go. I just turned off the voice changer and see if that'll make the difference. There we go. There, we'll take that out of the way too. Okay. It's still got the echo? It shouldn't. Shouldn't have the echo at all. I don't know. I got voice mod completely off. Yeah, I got voice mod completely. It's just running passive. Shouldn't have no echo at all. Huh. Okay, so there we go. Oh boy. Messing with the microphone. I really didn't want to do that. Messing with Mr. Microphone. That really don't have anything to do with it. Oh. Okay. Cool enough, man. Cool enough. I forgot I had the voice changer on. I should have turned it off. That was my bad, you know. I was messing with it and trying to have a little fun with it, you know. But anyway. Okay, well, this is the deal. 5090, it's iffy right now. I'm going to tell you that. It is, to me, it's iffy. So, we could sneak into Daniel Owens' Discord server and figure out what settings he uses when he activates the calculator showing his screen. I do everything manually, bro. I don't have programs hiding behind programs. I do everything manually. I don't want a bunch of programs in my computer slowing it down. I already have enough when I do the YouTubing, so I just rather keep it nice and even. Now, if I want a calculator like Daniel Owens has got, he's spent his money in getting his computer and everything else set up correctly the way he wants it. You know. Takes time and money. That's all I'm going to say. 4090. It still puzzles me how the fact of that with the 4090, that Micro Center says it only worth $700. That puzzles me. So that means that the 5600 X3D I bought from them is only worth $40. It's what they're saying. Or $100. No, $86. Sorry. So that's it. I mean, the 5600 X3D is only worth $86. That's what they're saying. So the motherboard that I got with it ain't worth $160. No. It's worth $72. That's what they're saying. Even the RAM I picked up at $58. It's only worth $16 at Micro Center. So what next? Somebody buys a whole pre-built PC from them for $3,000? $3,000. How much do you think it's going to be worth? The price of inflation and everything else, they're probably going to tell you. You buy it, let's say you bought it on the first day of the month. Then the next day you take it back because you don't want it. Your PC has lost value to half. They're going to give you back. You're only going to get 50% of what you paid for it. They're only going to give you 50%. Doesn't make sense. And that person that bought, I don't know if they got it in there, but I heard a person bought a 4090 from Micro Center, and they told them the same thing the next day, and the box was still wrapped the next day. I don't know what y'all think about that, but I heard that. That was like, that's the reason why it brings up the fact of the 5090, the 5080, and if they're going to do a 5070, which I'm still not sure. I'm still not hearing nothing on it. A 5060 and I hear a 5050 are in the works. So that's what I hear on the 50 series. I don't hear much any chatter of anything else. As far as the specs, 33% for another $100. Think about it. The 4090, okay, just to say the 4090 is at $1,600 MSRP. Now the 5090 comes out at $1,700 MSRP. It's only $100 difference between the two, but the 5090 gives you 33% more performance than the 4090. What are you going to do? What are you going to go for? Think about it. What are you going to go for? Now, we all know why Jay's 2 cents would get a $50 discount on an open box ARC A750. He buys it for $250, gets it half back, and it resells it for $199. Wow. Wow. You know what also too I thought? What I see some companies are starting to do, and I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but like your big box stores like Micro Center and stuff like that, what they're doing with the reviewers is that they turn around, let you build anything you want on loan. That once you're done, you take it back to them and they put it on their floor to sell. I heard that. A friend of mine told me that. He says what they do is they make a deal with you. You go home, you take all the parts with you, you build a computer, giving them advertisement that you got it from them to build it. You put it all together. And then you take that same PC back to them for them to sell on their floor. And what you get out of the deal, you got it from their company. That's all you get. You don't get no commission or nothing. I heard them starting to do this, so we'll see what happens when it comes to reviewers getting samples from these companies. They're going to give you a whole computer. They're going to say build it and send it back to them. Where are you going to get paid for doing the advertisement, the building, and everything else? What are you going to do then? You'd be best off to buy your own product, advertise it, get commission off of YouTube, and be done with it. You know, I'm not knocking companies, but I've heard from a couple people that does YouTube every day. But they tell me it's not as easy as everybody thinks. It's not easy as if you got 100,000 in your back pocket to build your channel. And it takes over 10 years to get your channel to 1 million subscribers. It takes you 10 years to get to 1 million subscribers. It is what it is. I could buy a 5090 as well if I like one of those models. Social pressure and norms are ignored completely, but I still needed a specific use case to know it's worth it. Or is it an irrational decision? Right now, it's irrational. Because with the games that you play right now, the requirements for the games are sitting right at a 4070 spec for the game you play, which I got the same game too. Well, I got the upgraded version. You know what I'm talking about. But is it warranted anything bigger than a 4070 right now? Truthfully. Or a 7800 XT? And I keep saying this between these two? No. Do you need something bigger? Is there something better out there that you need that card for that's going to crap golden cup links? Or is there something that card's really going to give you visually that your eye will not catch? Is it going to give you, pink eye, or what's it going to do for you? You only need enough graphics to play a game. If you got a card like the 4070 or the 4060 Ti, they're sufficient. It's how you balance them. That's what matters. Everybody's like, oh, we're running out of VRAM and everything else. That's bull. I've seen many games, many reviewers doing the 4060 Ti with the 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And they're always sitting between 1,000 and 1,500 less than they're using of the 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Go watch their videos. They'll show you this. It's plain in black and white. Nobody looks. Nobody's paying attention. Well, look, I put pink eyes. Like, what do you expect the card to do, man? Seriously, what do you expect the card to do? I mean, it just takes the digital part and pushes it to your screen. Textures. That's all it does. It puts the textures on your screen. So, you got to go through a compression, decompression, compression, decompression, encryption, decryption, encryption, decryption. By the time you get to your screen, it's decrypted and it's in front of you. So you got to go through many steps for it to get there. Pink hair and cat ears, yeah. Pretty much. If somebody told you that you needed a better card than the 4060 Ti or the 4070, they're only saying that because they're using the power. They're power hungry. That they want to overclock and push and push and push it. They push it so much to make it break. It's either you make it or break it, is what they're using. I've been running mine for about a year. Machine, MTBK, you guys know I've been pushing this card for a year. Have I broke down yet? Yes or no? Am I still here? I use it as a creator PC, gaming PC, all in one. Has it broke down? Hell no. It's still here. AM4 motherboard. AM4. Not 5. 4. Right here. Ryzen 7 5700X. It keeps rocking. It's not quitting. So that's why I'm sticking with it. 750 watt power supply with all this running, including RGB and everything. I'm getting my money. I'm getting my money's worth out of it. So that's how you got to look at it. But as far as when it comes to buying the 50 series, I've always kept the rule of thumb. At least give it a little bit of time for maturity, because the newest drivers are not out there yet. So if you're going to dip your hands into the 50 series right away, I would wait if I were you. I would wait till the middle of next year. Maybe all the way till October of next year before you decide the 50 series. That's the real deal. Unless you want to be ambushed by the fact that you threw your money out there and that card doesn't work for you. So, until I see, and like I told you, until I see like 10 different outlet reports that show me if that card is viable or not, that's what's going to determine if I buy it. I'm being like the consumer, doing it the consumer way. So, some YouTubers report Asus margin went down still. Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, let me explain this. Inflation increases. Profit marginability decreases. Inflation increases. Profit margins decrease. Because now they have to take out of their profits to put into the overhead because of inflation. That doesn't mean they're lower on sales, it's just inflation. If I want to play a game like FF7 Rebirth, I would surely check it out on my system and then decide if I want something faster. Bro, what do you need faster? There is nothing you need faster. If you got 8 gigabytes of VRAM, 8 gigabytes on that card, and it can't keep up, then you got a problem with the hardware. But if you got 8 gigabytes of VRAM on the card and for some reason it can't keep up software wise, that's a different story. Then that means you got outdated drivers or something like that. Just go and update your drivers. Simple. I keep mine updated every time Microsoft posts a new driver set. Or no, not Microsoft. NVIDIA. As soon as NVIDIA posts a new driver set, I always upgrade and update it. Simple. And if you don't and you let it linger for a month, this is what happens. You start getting game crashes and everything else. So if you don't keep up, that's what's gonna happen. Just to let you know that. Your GPU is 549 euros. Over here, the overclock version is 550. Yeah. And 550. I don't recommend you get in the regular version. The overclock version, I'm always going to be to where I'm going to tell you, if you buy a GPU, buy the overclocked version. Always buy the overclocked version. It's already preset. There's not much you have to do. You don't even have to overclock. With software, believe it or not, you don't even have to overclock it with software. It's pretty much done by itself. Simple. That's the reason why I always buy the overclocked version. You buy the standard version, then you're going to be down in the dumps because you can't get 100% out of your GPU. You only can get about maybe 60-65%. Overclock version gives you right up to the 100% mark. And that's the reason why I told you in the beginning, I don't have to overclock my GPU. I really don't. It's already been pre-done by the company itself. I don't need to overclock anything. For PC partner brand like Zotac and Marley, the standard version sometimes does not have a zero fan mode. Well, of course, it's only supposed to be the overclocked version that has the performance mode and the zero fan tolerance mode. Your overclocked versions. Your standard doesn't have that. There's supposed to be fixed fan settings on the standard. And the only way you can overclock the fans is by the GPU program itself. Supposedly. That's why you see on standard versions when you use MSI Afterburner On the standard versions, you use MSI Afterburner. You know what happens? You can't overclock it. It won't allow you to overclock it. It'll crash your GPU before you go to overclock it. So that's why I always recommend the overclock version, because you got more expandability. Rumors say it's $1,700. The 5090, I'm going to say it's going to be close to $1,800. That's my honest opinion. 33% more. They're going to jam another couple $100 onto it for 33% more. So, might be $1,800. That's what it's going to look like. Is it worth the wait for the 5090 or just get a 4090 now? Well, if now, Frosty, understand this. If you go to get a 4090 and resell it back to Micro Center or wherever, you might not even get its value. It might not even be worth the value. And plus, with the 5090, 33% more performance. The 5090 with 33% more performance. I would wait for the 5090. I really would. I would wait for the 5090. Not unless you want to do what MTBK says, get a used 4090, but like I said, when it's used, you don't know how much abuse somebody put it on that 4090 before you got it. So you don't know how much abuse it had. So you can't trust the fact that it's going to last just the same length if it was brand new. You can't. So you got to expect that factor. Some people say 33%, some people say 77%. Okay? From what I'm hearing, it's supposed to be 33% faster because of the GDDR7 that they're putting in there. That's supposed to be between 36 gigabytes of VRAM up to 48 gigabytes of VRAM. Some people say it's going to be 32 gigabytes of VRAM. They don't know yet. I mean, everything is still up in the air. Even NVIDIA has not set down just yet to give a spec or to give a price. They still don't know. It's up in the air. It's all depending on what's going on overseas with TSMC. That's what's mattering the most, is because they don't know what's going on with that. And also too with Micron, if they're going to decide to do the 2 gigabyte VRAM chips, or they're going to do the 3 gigabyte VRAM chips. So it's still up in the air. Everything is right now is just a leak. It's not, they don't even know if they're going to have it done on time. It could be it could be at the first quarter or the second quarter of next year before it hits the retail market. So if you don't need a graphics card from now until then save your money, because you never know what price this is going to come out at Just like when they presented the 4090 the first time at $1,600, which everybody thought, some people thought was ridiculous, but some people didn't. It's the matter of if you got the money or you don't. That's what matters. If you do got the money, more power to you. Then buy the newest one. And that way you got something around that'll last you 5 solid years. I always got the 5-year rule. If it's going to last you 5 years, it's worth the money. If it's not, then it's not. So, I would never buy a used GPU unless it's $10 to minimize my personal risk for one model. I don't want $50 new because I get a GT 730 at that price. Hey, we all do, man. GT 730 you can get all day long from China for $50 all day long. So I do understand you. Man, I have been wanting to upgrade my 1060 for the longest time. I finally, when I'm ready to get the 4090, NVIDIA comes out with the new GPU leaks. Frosty, I'm going to be honest with you. Hold your money. Save up a little bit more just to be on the safe. And when the 5090 comes out, before you buy it, and I'm going to tell you, before you buy it, get at least 5 or 6 reviews on it to assess, to make sure that it's worth every bit of dollars they say it is. It's better to have 6 opinions than to have just none, because you don't know what you're buying into when it comes to spending that kind of money. I'd rather have 6 opinions than no opinions, really. So keep that in mind. Now, the RTX 4090, I can tell you right here, the reason why I didn't buy it is because of that 12-volt power connector, which is crap. I didn't buy it. I got the RTX 4070 with an 8-pin connector that's been running for a year in my system with no problem. Until they prove to me that they can come out with the connector that will last longer than the 8-pin connector, I'm sticking with the 8-pin connector until then. Just to be honest with you, I'm sticking with the 8-pin connector until then. I have the RTX 4060 laptop GPU over here. 45 watts, MTBK says. Yeah, mine's 200 watts just from the GPU. From the CPU's 85 watts. From all the RGB, that's another, I don't know. But anyway, minimal 400 watts off of my PC. Well, actually, no. Maximum 420 watts overall on a 750 watt power supply. Said and done. I don't need nothing for not even this generation, probably the next generation. Who knows? So, are you going to upgrade to the 5090? I don't know. I really don't know yet. I'm going to be honest with you, I really don't know. Is for the simple fact that if they put $200 more price tag on this, I'm really not feeling it. I'm really not seeing the need for it if you have a need for that much graphics, like if you're doing creator work or something like that, and you're feeling you have that much need for that much graphics, then save your money and get a 79, If you don't need it for graphics, then get yourself a 7900 XTX. Or wait for the 8000 series to come out. But if you do need it for creator work, it's understandable. Some people that do creator work, they need that speed of a GPU in order to fulfill the graphics that they're doing. So yeah, this is more or less like for enthusiasts or your high-end creators that need more power. But as far as gaming, really, I don't see. I'm right there at the mid-level. I got the RTX 4070. I'm right there at mid-level, man. Be honest with you, I really didn't need the 4090 because that would have been over-speccing my part. But who's to say the prices now that Micro Center's quoting to everybody like $700? Who's to say that they're not going to start selling the 4090s for half the cost? Unless they go to eBay, of course. But who's to say that, if you go to your friend and say, hey, you want to buy this for $700? People are going to sell them to their friends for half the price. They got their money out of them. They're going to sell it for half the price and put it on top of one of the new graphics cards. But if you're just looking for something for right now that'll get you the next 2 or 3 generations, then yeah, I would say. But what's hesitating me with the 4090 is that 12-volt power connector, that 12-volt fire monster that they have on there. If they change that and fix it like they said they would, which they never do, then I would recommend the 4090. But I'm not recommending the 4090 is because of that power connector that's on that card. I'm not recommending it to nobody for that fact. 5090, this is just a leak right now. We don't know what kind of power connector it's going to have. Everybody says that, it might have the 12-volt high power connector. That connector is not going to last at 600 watts. No way. Now, I'm going to give you a helpful hint. Hear me out for a moment. Just hear me out for a moment. If they'd make another 5070 with 2 8-pin connectors, and they decided to take the 5070 up to 350 watts. Listen to my voice. 350 watts. You know what's going to happen then? You know how much performance that's going to pack? Compared to the 4070 Super, the 4070 Ti, the 4080, the 4080 Super, and all them. That one card being over 300, well, let's say about 350 watts. About 350. That graphics card is going to have more power than your 4080. The 5070 is going to have more power than the 4080. Do your math. Let me know what you think. MTBK says only if needed if only needed for work. It also contradicts our ethical of keeping a GPU for 5 years or more. Um, Actually, you all know I've been talking about doing another PC. A gaming PC. I have my main PC, but a gaming PC alone. I was talking to y'all about doing that. So I haven't decided yet if I want to do a test bench or a gaming PC. I still have two options because there's two things I want to do. A gaming PC for this side and a bench for right here. I still have my options open. So I didn't give up on my monster right here. I did not give up on that yet. So I did not break my 5-year rule. I have no need at all. I just wanted for self-satisfaction. I am comfortable with my 1060 and with the performance, but I still want to upgrade it because I've been way past the 5-year mark. Frosty, yeah, you are. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to upgrade and you want to upgrade to the middle section of it all, and you want to, I'm still gonna tell you that truthfully, all in all, the 4070 Ti Super or even a 4080 Super. I rarely hear power connectors burning up. I rarely hear power connectors burning up on the 4080, the 4080 Super, or the 4070 Ti Super or below. I only hear it on the 4090. I rarely hear anything about the 4080 series or the 4070. It's just the 4090 itself. So there's a lot to choose from. The market's big, so I agree, no matter 192-bit or 12 gigabytes of VRAM at 350 watt, RTX 5070 will make mincemeat out of those RTX 4080s, which it will. Even if they upgrade it to 16 gigabytes of VRAM for that card, it's going to have more performance than any one of those cards on the 40 series. The 50 series is going to be a really strong series. Something tells me this. So, as a GTX 1060 owner, I would wait for the RTX 5060. Yeah. You could. But the thing is like you pay for your performance, okay? You pay for your performance. If you pay a nickel per FPS, that's up to you. If you pay a dime for every FPS you get, that's what you pay for. If you pay for a whole dollar for FPS, then I would not buy it if you paid a whole dollar. So, when you pay 2 cents per FPS, So let's say you paid 2 cents for 500 FPS is how much? So you go 0.02 and you times it by 500. So it's a whole 10, what? $10? Something to think about. If I look at the processor market, people get slightly better price to performance with an i5 14600 compared to an i5 13600. Same Raptor cores and cheaper. Yeah. It's just like I told you guys here. I got an i5 right here. i5 8400 Intel processor. That runs just as good as my 5600G. Runs just as fast as my Ryzen 5 5600G. And this Livono here, this system can go all the way up to an i7 9700. I'm not sure if it was the, no, it's the i7 9700. So, I can go all the way up to a 9th gen processor on a pre-built motherboard. And the computer I got for free. It's for free. You pay for what you get. That's pretty much how it works. I'm pretty sure this Livono system can also give home to a 9900. Probably. But that means I would have to change the power supply, because I guarantee it will not handle a 9900. Not even at 189 watts, that the max this processor can do is 189 watts. So I would have to completely change the power supply. I would have to at least put a 500 watt power supply in here in order to handle the 9900. It won't handle a K version. It'd be a waste of money, is because the system basically it's all locked. So there's nothing you can change to unlock it. It's locked. The BIOS is locked on it unless I take it to somebody to get it unlocked. That's the only way. But then you're stressing out components and everything else. It'd just be beneficial for you to go buy a better motherboard that does all that, and you don't need the headache. See, I could buy, instead of spending all that extra money, is get a better motherboard, get a better PSU, and I can run that same processor. Okay, or set the 65 watt fixed in BIOS, which that doesn't have. I can tell you that. Unless you turn there's only one button in there that you can use. It's turbo on and turbo off. You got to remember, this is Intel, not AMD. Turbo on, turbo off, and that's all you got in there. Everything else is about the perils, nothing else. That's why I said the bias is a one set bias. You turn on the turbo and you leave it and you're done. End of story. You want more power? You put in a bigger processor. You want more power? You put in a bigger power supply. You want more power? Go get a new PC. Simple. Yeah, but that's on a newer motherboard, bro. 5 gigahertz on 2 cores is on a newer motherboard. It's not on an older motherboard. This chip right here gets 4 gigahertz at its max. And it doesn't even hit 4 gigahertz on this. It hits 3.97623.850 megahertz. So that means it's right on the cusp of 4 gigahertz within a matter of micro. So said 65 watts in a fixed bias. I mean, sure, an i9 14900K can pull up to 219 watts on a 28 for 28 seconds. Then it sticks at 65 watts under load. That's because if you push it to 219 watts, but it levels at 65 watts, that means it's doing what? Thermal throttling. So basically, it's not coming back down in temperature that you're running it maxed out. That's why. It's right where an i4 8400. It's right where an i5 8400 is suspected at. i9 900 can get 2 cores to 5 gigahertz on, can get, as far as I know. Wow. Sorry, I mean i5 8400. I know what you meant, bro. Look, I know what you meant. Hey, it ain't my yesterday. I already understood. I'm just reading out what you guys put down here. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, I'm just reading what you guys put out here. So, I understand the fact of that. But it's not so much the processor. If the processor can do it, that's fine. But it's the motherboard that carries it all. And if the motherboard cannot carry those frequencies, you're never going to hit it and you're never going to get to it. So if the motherboard can't hit it, and with this being a stock motherboard and being a pre-built system, they got a lot of things in there locked up that you can't get to. Simple as that. Dell does the same crap. Hewlett Packard does the same crap. Acer does the same crap. They all lock it right at a certain point to make you go buy a new one. That's the only reason they do it. Still the same main board. Same Livono system as an i9. Instead of an i5 8400, will clock up to 5 gigahertz, maybe 496 if base clock is 99.2 instead of 100. You know, they always offset the base clocks. They never put them at 100. They always put it at, what, 99.8? If I remember right. They put them at, well, some of them they put at like 36, a multiplier of 36, but then they only put it at like a fraction of 99.8 to that multiplier. So basically they rip you off of 0.08 megahertz every PC they sell, and it's supposed to have 100, not 99.8 or 99.2. I've seen them down to like 86.9. Come on. When changing my Celeron from a G5 900 to an i9 10900, the 10 core clocked to 5.2 gigahertz as advertised, but it's an ASRock Z490 mainboard. Bought this one because I wanted a DDR4 3600 RAM instead of 3000. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I mean, a lot of people do that. You know, I mean, a Z490 motherboard's not bad. But also, too, price comparison, you can get yourself a Z5, I think there's a Z590. Let me look. For the same price as the 490 right now. I'll take a look. We will have a look. Let's see, Z590. Okay, so the Z590's 160, 50, 58. Let's see. Omen, Aussie, OC, Z590, 30L, $58. Okay, so Z590, if you want to get a decent one at respectables, then you just gotta look for it. So yeah, you can find, I would recommend to say I would trust it at $169 when it comes to a 590 Z590. But you're not going to need a Z590. I wouldn't think you would need a Z590. But it'd be nice to have, if that's what you decided. So 490, 590 should be almost the same. See, the way Asus runs is this. Okay, let me give you a little bit of a hint. Way Asus runs their motherboards. If you go from a Z590 to, or not a, you go from a Z490 to a Z590, right? You should be able to carry that processor up to the 590. Just like with the 5000 series, you should be able to, AMD, you should be able to carry anything from the B450 motherboard up to a B550 motherboard. Any processor should be able to carry from 300 series to 400 to 500 series. 3, 4, and 500 series AMD should carry amongst one another. So, keeping that in mind, I'm pretty sure even the cheapest main board would make a big processor clock just as high. It would. The thermal mass is just there. My i7 2600 clocked to 3.8 gigahertz as well on my super cheap Intel H61MB. Right. Gotcha. But that'll clock up to that. See, MTBK, understand this. Any processor that I clock up to its max, I don't push it beyond its max. Even though that it's there, I still don't go past that point for a reason. One, you'll degrade your processor, and your processor will be worth nothing. And also, too, it's not warranted for me to overclock my processor right now, because any game that I play, it only pushes 30% load onto my processor, and the rest of the load is to the GPU. That's it. So there's no sense of me changing anything, for the simple fact, unless your processor's being utilized 50% or higher, then it's time to think about getting another processor with motherboard. Because if you're utilizing that much, then that means those games you're playing are well over the specifications of that processor. So, you're best off to get a bigger processor with the same graphics card that you have. Same graphics card. You'll give it more performance by doing it that way than you would by just replacing the whole thing. Some people say, well, what if I decide to take and get me a smaller graphics card just to meet the CPU processor? I look at people when they say that to me and I say, are you crazy? No. It's just stuff like that, man. I mean, Z590 means it can also install an Intel Core 1100 series Rocket Lake without updating the BIOS if a Z490 mainboard was used for an Intel Core 10th Gen series. Comment Lake. Well, if you're worried about updating your motherboard, and if you're worried about what processor you're using, then I would suggest you take your computer that's not updated by BIOS software to a professional and let them upgrade it for you. Because on the back end, There are certain parameters that you need from the motherboard in order to make that processor work correctly. So, if your motherboard is not up to spec, there's a lot of things that you could be missing. So, I don't think much of a 30 to 50% limit more than I check what cores are pegged at 100% load as well. As I check out how many threads of specific games allocates. True. But what good is it allocating anything if you don't know what it's actually doing? Where your performance is. You know, I mean, if I tell you to change your motherboard because it's not clocking you up to 100%, I give you a piece of advice and tell you maybe it's something you need to change. It's up to you to change it. I'm not here to tell you you need to do this. I'm just giving you my opinion based upon my information that I know. So if you want to use a lame duck motherboard, then go right ahead. If you want to use a professional style motherboard, then go ahead. There's many motherboards out there that have very distinct parameters when it comes to the general of the firmware, but when it comes to the overachieving of the firmware, that's up to each individual company. That's how they stay in competition, is because they don't make everything the same. The parameters of their motherboard are not the same as, going down the road. They change things for a reason. This reason is for them to make money. You think they really care if you're on the internet or not, these big companies? No, they don't care. They just want you to spend your money. That's all they want you to do. And I keep telling them, I'm not spending my money on garbage. That's pretty much what they want you to buy now, is garbage. So, yeah, I use my head a little bit more carefully. When I go to buy my products, I buy responsibly. Watch who the vendor is, number one. Like when you go to Amazon. If you want to buy direct from Amazon, make sure the seller is Amazon. So, Jay, we are the professionals ourselves. Yeah, I know, man. I know. I agree with that. Yeah, I see that too. 1800 doesn't use any core up to 100%. More likely, the limit is the L3 cache size. Possibly. Which is why it's the very big CPU can pump out more frames per second compared to an i5. I understand that. That's true too. Okay, that is true too. But this is the thing. When you buy your processor, do you really think that you need to buy something that's going to break your bank? You don't. Processor I got is a 5700X, 8-core, 16-thread processor that runs the RTX 4070, which is designed to run with the 13400K. on Intel or higher. So, I know these things too. So, but you got to look at the pros and cons. Reason why I'm running with the 5700X is not because I don't want to pay the price for, let's say an AM5 series processor like the 7800 XT, or not this, 7800X 3D. I mean, that's always going to be the next best thing when it comes to that. When you put a PC together, you just got to think about what you want it to do, and then make sure the parts that you buy, it does exactly that, and some. Processors are relatively inexpensive compared to some GPUs. Plus, I cheap out massively on my monitor setup. Hey, we all do. We all do the same thing. We all get a 1080p monitor to run with our big old graphics cards. And then it comes down to the end of the day, everything comes back circle to 1080p. So, just to let you know that everything comes back full circle to 1080p. The general population, certain amount of general population of 62 to almost 70% watch 1080p. Even when it comes to their movies, they're still watching 1080p. So you go spend your big old dollars on buying a 1440p monitor or a 4K monitor, because guess what? You're going to be right back at 1080p. Like I said, I'm not getting where everybody's getting all going up in scales. You go up in scales, you lose FPS, you can't get it to work correctly because you can't get the textures to look right, and I've heard this so many damn times. So many times. When it comes to the monitors, so many times, this is the same song and dance. It still comes down to 1080p, period. Processors, yeah, we already went through that. 1080p is better than Oxygen, yeah. Gotta breathe, Gotta breathe a little bit. Yeah, you're right, it is. Everybody's got to breathe once in a while, So. You got to breathe, man. If you can't breathe, then there's a problem. Oh my God. I don't think I can handle myself anymore. It's just drove me totally mad. Do I have to get that kind of upset, I mean, I did that as a funny part. That's all. I just did that as a funny. More Oxygen. MTBK, you asked for more Oxygen. I gave it to you. So, well, guys, this has been fun. It's been a fun stream. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of here too. I got some things I got to do today. Did I bust the camera? No. Oh, phew. Almost thought I busted the lens on that camera. See, that's how upset they got me. Oh my God. But anyway, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to JJ's PC Builds right here on the YouTube channel. I had to. I just had to. You're welcome, machine. You're welcome. Thank you for stopping by. But anyway, make sure you all do subscribe. It would be appreciated. But until the next time and the next video, you know who this is, and we will see you on the next video.